Brucey, I suppose, first and foremost, how did this all come about?
Well, it came about on the weekend when we got an email asking for mutual termination of James's contract. So things moved pretty quickly. I think in 2020 everyone's learnt to be a bit more nimble than what they have been in the past. But yeah, we've had to move extremely quickly on this one.
I suppose the big question which shapes the whole scenario is, has the club given James permission to speak with other teams?
Yeah, so if I can run you guys through that. Obviously when we finished the season in the hub, we came back to Adelaide. At the time, we hadn't sold any players. We were unsure of the distribution from the TV rights deal to the club. So financially, the club, I wouldn't say was in trouble, but we had to make some tough decisions on who we keep, who we don't keep. And at that time, in September, we told James, as one of our more expensive players, that he was free to speak to other clubs, because when you looked at the budget we have and the books, unless players were willing to take a collective pay cut, which they weren't, we had no choice but to try and move some players on. Subsequent to that, we obviously did very well in the transfer market. We sold Paul Izzo, we sold Riley McGree, Nikola Miliusnic went to Denmark. We had Lockie Brook go to the UK, which really shored up the club's finances, not only bringing in revenue, but also some higher earners moving on. That was in October. And during October, we made it very clear to James, especially with Riley gone, that he was a required player and an important part of the team. I communicated that to him. Head coach Carl Viet communicated that to him on numerous occasions. So your position in September, again in a year where things have moved pretty quickly and you've had to learn to be nimble, is not the same position we had in October, and certainly not the same position we have now. So, yes, initially there were a few players who were actually told that they were free to speak to other clubs. James was one of those. Post-transfer window closing, I think 5 October, I think it closed, 6 October maybe, that position changed and that was made clear. But I think what hurts us the most is the timing of it. 10 days out, 2 weeks out from the commencement of the A-League season. I love a challenge, but it certainly does make my job very difficult in terms of replacing the player. But it's something that we are working furiously to do at the moment.
So will he be free to play? There are reports he'll be playing for Western Sydney. Will he be free to play for another A-League club?
He's free to play for another A-League club. I'll be extremely disappointed if it is Western Sydney, because they inquired about James a couple of months ago and we wrote back to him that he's a required player, and we'd appreciate if they did not approach the player. And they subsequently agreed to that and thanked us for the feedback. So I'm not sure 100% where he's going. If it is Western Sydney Wanderers, as is rumoured, then certainly us all here at the club will be extremely disappointed.
Like you said, it's frustrating, isn't it? 2 weeks out from the season, big campaign, he's had a huge pre-season under your watch, and then says, sorry, I'm leaving. Sum up the feelings.
It's disappointment, really, but it's football also. In football, these things happen, and I'm not going to stand here and say that we're completely shocked, and because it is sort of part and parcel of the game. The most disappointing thing for us really is that we've put a real emphasis on bringing South Australians back and building a team around South Australians, and to have one of your own leave is always cuts that little bit deeper.
Are you able to replace him in the next couple of weeks now? What's the ruling
Yeah,
there?
look, the registration window closes on January 3. So it will be extremely difficult. It does reopen in the middle of February, so there will be a replacement. In terms of timing, it's hard, especially if you look overseas. It's extremely hard. I mean, we signed Tommy Urich some time ago. We signed Javi Lopez some time ago. They're still sitting in Perth in hotel quarantine. So it's not as easy as signing a player. They jump on a plane the next day. You know, you need to get exemptions. You need to see if their family can travel. Then they need a quarantine when they do finally get here. So challenges abound, but it's keeps the job entertaining, and I enjoy it.
How do you assess his time at the club? Did it work out the way that, I mean, obviously it hasn't ended the way you would have liked, but
Yeah.
in terms of his output on the field, did you think the club got value for money?
Oh, well, his contract was back-ended, so I'd say we did in year one. Look, obviously for the club and even for James, he'll be the first to tell you it was a relatively disappointing year in the sense that he had a number of injuries, missed a fair bit of the season, so never really got to see the best of him really. There's no doubt about the guy's quality. He is a very good player. And yeah, look, we wish him the best in the future, and you know, all those sort of cliches you can throw out. We're just a little disappointed it's come so late in the pre-season.
Is there anyone internally who can step up and play that more aggressive midfield role?
Yeah, I think we've got the cattle internally. I think for us it's not a matter of not having the quality already in the squad. I think it's more a matter of needing to increase the depth in terms of you know, the importance of bringing in another player.
Do you think he held a bit of a grudge against the club, asking him to go and seek, you know, another club, you know, in October or whenever it was?
No, I don't think so. That conversation was quite cordial. So I don't think he held a grudge at all. You know, he's one of the higher earners. And it's clear this COVID pandemic, you guys in the media would be, you know, some of the hardest hit, and you know, your organisations have gone through periods where, you know, people have had to go, and it's no different for us. You know, the sporting and live entertainment sectors have been some of the hardest hit. So some of the higher earners we had that discussion with. You know, some we were able to sell. Others, if we couldn't sell them, you know, we were willing and able to let them go for free. So I don't think he held a grudge at all, because it was nothing against the player. It was, you know, he was a victim of the circumstances, really.
It felt like he was sort of angling towards the exit doors the second he arrived. There was constant speculation. Can you just say now, did you ever get approaches from overseas from any of these clubs in Asia or other A-League deals until the last month?
Never got an approach, no. All good. Thanks. Oop. Got another?
Yeah, he answered.
Oh, I missed it.
You want to keep going?
No, I was just going to ask you, it's disappointing that you missed out on a transfer fee. Like, you would have liked to get something for it.
It is. It's hard, you know. The older players get, the cheaper they get, and you know, it's impossible to get a transfer fee within the A-League. That's something I know that Football Federation Australia is looking at, implementing some sort of domestic transfer system. That would have been beneficial, I think, in this circumstance, and something that needs to come in. But at this point in time, you know, that unless they're going overseas, it's impossible to get any fees.
And how will you feel if he lines up against an opposition team come round one in 2 weeks' time?
That's okay. Like I said, it's part and parcel of the game. Footballers tend to be quite transient. They move around a lot. They go to a number of clubs throughout their careers. So yeah, no hard feelings or anything like that.